recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Duffy, Chairman of our Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding today's hearing. My good friend, the ranking member, I have to give a couple of her quotes from earlier today. I think she said the XM Bank was an engine of economic growth. And she also said that letting the XM Bank expire would be harmful to the American economy. And as Mr. Huizenga pointed out, that hasn't always been the case of my friends across the aisle or the Democrat Party, because when Barack Obama was running for office, he called the XM Bank corporate welfare. And my good friend, the ranking member, she too called the XM Bank corporate welfare. She also told us that it would ship American jobs overseas because of cheap foreign labor. In the dissenting opinion from the ranking members and one Bernie Sanders from the House report from 2002, they said there are many examples of the Export-Import Bank subsidizing corporations that lay off American workers and move their production facilities overseas. But today, they're telling us that it is the engine of economic growth. So the question is, what's changed? What is different today than what they were saying in 2012? Mr. Hochberg, have you ever stayed at the White House?
In the 1990s.
With Mr. Clinton?
Yes, sir.
Lincoln bedroom?
No, it was actually a different bedroom.
Oh, okay. And you are an Obama bundler, correct? You were an Obama bundler, not are.
I raised money for Mr. Obama.
Okay. Fair to say we could probably move from those answers what your political affiliation is. Boeing, the largest beneficiary of XM financing, their top lobbyist since '08 is a former aide to Bill Clinton. In '09, Secretary Clinton, President Clinton's wife, if you don't know, as the secretary makes a shameless pitch in Russia that Russian airlines should buy Boeing airplanes, which I would like all airlines to buy our great American jets, but she's making a pitch as the Secretary of State. And then in 2010, a short while later, actually Boeing gets the contract for $3.7 billion. And after that, it's amazing, Boeing makes a $900 million contribution to the Clinton Foundation. 900,000, not million, sorry. Thank you, Bill. Boeing director William Daley is named President Obama's chief of staff in 2011. In June of 11, John Bryson, Boeing director, named Obama's commerce secretary. Boeing top lobbyist in 2014 hosts a fundraiser for Ready for Hillary, the PAC that's supporting her campaign for president. And so I think what's changed is when you have Democrats who think they can get support from corporate welfare, they'll support it. If through corporate welfare they get campaign contributions, they will support it. And then it's about the American worker, the American economy. But if they're not getting contributions and they don't have their bundlers in the CEO president position, all of a sudden it's bad for the American worker and it's bad for the American economy. Mr. Hochberg, did you say that you, the XM Bank, supports any eligible American business that seeks exports? Was that your quote?
That can find financing in the private sector.
Right, and you don't pick winners and losers.
That's correct.
And so I was reading an article from Reuters from a couple years ago that says the U.S. Export-Import Bank Board of Directors voted on Thursday not to proceed with the financing of U.S. exports to help build a coal-fired power plant in Vietnam, following a plea from U.S. environmental groups to stop the project. So isn't it fair to say that you support American jobs as long as it meets your ideological standards? But you don't support all American jobs because you would admit that the American jobs that would have come from building a coal-fired power plant are still American jobs.
Congressman, in 1992, Congress put into our charter that we must take into account the environmental impact as well as reasonable assurance repayment. That's been on our charter for 23 years. The bank was sued under President Bush for not following that mandate that's in our charter and we lost.
So it's fair to say you support some American jobs, not all American jobs, correct?
We support jobs that fall within the mandate set forth by Congress in our charter.
So if you're making mining equipment in Wisconsin, or you work for a company that's trying to build power plants overseas, those jobs are the ones that won't fall into the financing of the EXIM Bank. Other clean energy jobs will, but not, in your view, dirty jobs.
Actually,
correct?
we support a lot of mining equipment from Wisconsin. We support coal export.
After much pressure from the Wisconsin delegation, I might add.
No, we supported fully and freely mining equipment, coal exports as well.
We'll talk about that later. I yield back.